begin. So, hi everyone. My name is Duncan. I'm the ECES team member, primarily in charge of admissions and pre-departure. I've already been in touch with all of you about the first steps after your acceptance. And with me is Bianca from New Paltz.
Hi guys, I know all of you have already met with me, or you probably know me, but I am your study abroad advisor here at SUNY New Paltz.
Yeah, so any questions you have about the admin for how any of this program will work reflected in the New Paltz system, Bianca is who you should be going to. And for any questions about the program itself, about the visa process or anything, I'm here to help you. You all have my email, but again, it's duncan.eaton@ff.cuny.cz. And yeah, let's get started. So for the fall, well, first off, I will show you what our website looks like. So if you haven't already, what you should do is go to our website, and I mentioned this in the original emails that I sent out about your acceptance. Hold on, it was. But you should be registering on our website so that way you have a profile. That way you can sign up for course registration properly, because if you don't register and don't have a profile on our website, you won't be able to register properly for classes. So I ask that if you haven't already, you should do that. And I'm just going to pull this up quickly so I can show you what the website looks like. Type in the password. Okay. Okay, so once you're logged in and properly registered, this is what the profile will look like. So this is going to kind of be your home page for any of your course admin or any of your information about yourself as a student while you are enrolled in the ECES program. So I am not signed up for any courses or anything, so my schedule looks a little bit empty. That being said, once you register for courses, they'll be under this tab. We have activities throughout the semesters as well, so they'll be over here. And so I'm just going to point out a few tabs over here. So if you go over here to courses, it's going to show you, this is just a sample of some of our summer courses, but this is where your courses will be as well. You can go over here, and once we have posted the courses, you can open up course information and bring up the actual syllabi. So for any of you who, we really recommend that before you come, before you register for courses, you pre-approve some of the courses with your study abroad advisor, your academic advisor specifically, rather. So your major advisor, make sure you are bringing any syllabi to them to make sure that your credits will transfer over properly. If you want, this is a literature and politics class, so if you are in a major or need any credits for literature and politics, just make sure that you're bringing the syllabi to your major advisor ahead of time, just so you can make sure that you'll get the credits for it and have it count. And especially too, I'll mention this a bit later as well, but you should be registering for 12 credits. So that's about 4 courses, including our Czech language course. You should pre-approve a few extra courses though, just in case that when you're registering, you don't get all of the courses that you want. And like I said, I'll talk about this a little bit in a second. Over here, we'll also have activities that you can sign up for throughout the semester. I will be going over these as well in a little bit. Yeah, this is just a little bit of what the website looks like. And additionally, our academic policies and procedures. Just feel free to give this a look over. This is just a little bit of information about a little bit of the admin stuff, about the ad drop period, about attendance, and what we expect from you as a student at our program. We will also be handing out forms about these topics when you actually get to Prague, but it's good to just familiarize yourself with them in the meantime. And so what we're going to be going over first and foremost is the Czech visa application. I want to go through this step by step just so you guys have something to reference, and also so you're prepared for the visa processing time. So right here is the checklist of what you should have for the visa application. So first and foremost, a completed and signed application form, 2 recent passport-sized photos. So I want to specify this is not just a picture of your passport. These are separate photos that meet the passport specifications. They don't have to match the photo that's in your passport. They just have to be passport size compliant. And then a scan of your passport information page in duplicate, as well as the original passport itself. You will need to send your passport to the Czech embassy to apply for your visa, as the visa goes in one of the empty pages of your passport. Confirmation of sufficient financial resources. I'll go over about what this is specifically in just a second. And this is tied to a bank account statement in your name. Confirmation of accommodation with our dorm. Criminal history background affidavit. Like I said, I'll go over this a little bit in a second, but as U.S. citizens, you just need to sign an affidavit, and that is it. So then we're going to be going over the health insurance procedure in just a second, and prepaid envelope, but this is only if you are not picking up your passport in person. All right, so I'm just checking the chat bubble.
I'll take care of the chat.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Bianca.
No problem.
So first we're going to go over the visa application form. So here is an example of what the visa application form is going to look like. So we have a link to this in your pre-departure guide. I've sent out the pre-departure guide to all of you in your acceptance emails, but please, if you don't have access to it for some reason or can't find it, let me know and I will resend it. First and foremost, you should be putting your surname first, and then if you changed your surname, if you're married and have a maiden name, you should put it in column 2. And column 3, or row 3 rather, should be your first name and middle name if you have one. Just a quick note about all of this is this should be written exactly how it's written in your passport. So make sure that this matches exactly. It's not really a thing in the Czech Republic to have middle names, and so that's why the middle name goes with the first name. Then is your date of birth. And please keep in mind that in Europe, date of birth is written in the day, month, year format. So this would be April 29th, 1998. Of course, put your birth date here. Then your place of birth. And next, for your country code, this should be the country code of the passport you're submitting. If you are a dual citizen of the US and any other country, unless it's an EU country, we really recommend that you apply with your US passport. I promise it's a lot easier than most countries. So you should be putting USA down for here. Although if you're applying with another passport, let me know and I can let you know the country code. Sex and marital status are pretty straightforward. you'll know especially your marital status. The father's name, this should also match if you know what your father has on his passports. And for mother's name, for 11, make sure this is what your mother's current name is. This applies for both of the parents, but especially if your parents changed their name after they were married or anything, this should be what their name is currently, their legal name, not their birth names. Type of travel document, most of you will have an ordinary passport. You will most likely know if you have another kind of passport. So just mark this off, and it'll say as well what kind of passport you have within the data page. The number of travel document as well will be in your passport data page. And the country code again. Date of issue, valid until. Please make sure that your passports, I believe I've checked most, if not all of your passport data, but make sure that the passport is valid for at least 6 months after your planned travel in the Czech Republic. If not, please let either myself or Bianca know, because that way you might have to get your passport renewed. And this is just to make sure that nothing happens, and just to make sure that for the duration of your stay that your passport doesn't expire. So like I said, please double check to make sure that your passport is valid until at least 6 months after the program is supposed to be over. For 17, if you reside in a country other than your country of origin, you will also know as well if, like I said, I believe you're all American citizens, but if your permanent address is in another country, then you will know about this. And if you have any questions about it, ask me. For 18, current occupation is going to be student. Technically, that is your occupation, and you are employed, number 19, by SUNY New Paltz. So please, when you're writing this down, write it exactly like I have it here. You'll need to include all of this information. Especially because you need to include the address in full, you might need to take out a few spaces to make it work. So you see here, New Paltz, New York, USA. There's no spaces in between it. And this goes for any other part of the visa application. If you run out of space and you can't fit everything, then please start to take out these spaces in between the words. This is just so you can fit everything. And so down here again, you see it for number 20. For the employer, after the entry to the Czech Republic, it's going to be Charles University, Faculty of Arts. Again, please make sure that this all fits, so you will need to eliminate spaces in order to do that. For number 21, this is the address of our university. Again, put this here exactly like I have it. This is the address and telephone number you should be using. For number 22, you only have to fill this out if you have stayed in the Czech Republic for longer than 3 months previously. So this would mean that you weren't just here for vacation, you actually had a visa and applied for it. So again, you'll know if this is the case, and please fill out the information here if it's relevant for you. For 23 as well. So this is going to be the address for the stay while you're here this time. So this is the dorm address. Please again fill this out for number 23 exactly as I have it, because I know that all of you will be staying at the dorm. 24, this you can leave blank because this is the postal address for while you're here, and this will be the same as the address for your stay, which is the dorm address. For number 25, the visa is requested for 104 days. Please fill this out exactly like I have it. This is the exact length of the program. So even if you're planning on coming ahead of time for travel or for pleasure or anything like that, or likewise staying after the fact in the Czech Republic, you should still be writing 104 days because this is the visa for the purpose of study. You have additionally 90 days that you can spend in the Czech Republic without a visa for the purpose of tourism. And this can be 90 days at any point within a 180-day period. So if you arrive a few days early and want to see Prague, and then also if you want to stay a little bit after the program in the Schengen zone and see any other countries, as long as that extra time is within 90 days, you'll be fine and don't need a visa. So just to reiterate, for number 25, 104 days is what you should be writing. Number 26, so other visas issued during the past 3 years. Again, if you have any visas issued for any other countries, please let us know. But this is pretty straightforward, and you will know if you need to fill this out. Number 27, this is previous stays in the Schengen states. So anywhere in the Schengen zone, like Germany, France, Austria, etc., Hungary, then you'll need to fill this out. 28, this is your purpose of stay currently. So you are all here to study, so please check off study. Then 29, the date of arrival. So this is going to be exactly what your the program arrival date is. So please fill this out as well as the date of departure exactly, as these are the program start and end dates. Like I said before, if you want to come early or anything like that, you will still be on a tourist visa, or vice versa. If you stay later, you'll be on a tourist visa. So you won't have to worry about that as long as it's below 90 days. But for the purpose of this visa application, this is what you should be writing. For number 31, place of entry in the Czech Republic, if you are flying in, which I assume most of you will be, then you can just write Praha here, which is Czech for Prague. And means of transport would be plane. That being said, if you are coming in through bus from another country or by train, please let us know and update this accordingly. For number 33, inviting legal and natural person, you should include this exactly as I have it written. Sylvia is our coordinator of international affairs here. She is the head of the department, and she is your inviting legal person. So please include this exactly as I have it, as well as the address down here and the phone number and the email address. For the manner of funding of the stay, no matter how you're funding it, if you're receiving any grants or financial aid or anything like that, or if you're paying out of pocket, this number 34 will still be myself. So just check this off. And then for number 35, means of support during your stay will be cash and credit cards. We really don't recommend using traveler's checks. That's not very pervasive in the Czech Republic. So that's why we just recommend cash and credit cards. And also you'll be getting travel and or health insurance. So please, after you get your health insurance, include the date it is valid until. And so numbers 36 and 37 are if you have a spouse and children. You will, of course, know if you need to fill this out. If you are single and don't have any children, then you do not have to worry about this page. And finally, you will include your home address and telephone number, as well as the email address you can be reached at. This is straightforward as well. But for the applicant's home address, you should include you should have your permanent address here. rather than a temporary address like a dorm address. You should use this to be like your parents' address or your guardian's address, wherever you consider your permanent address. And then at the end, it's just a bit of legal information. One thing to keep in mind is to fill out the visa all in block letters and all in not cursive. So as close to what we have it as you see, just so it's clearly read. And please make sure that you don't use red pen. Please fill this out in either black or blue pen. Otherwise, they will not accept it. And then down here at the bottom, you will just sign, as well as date and write where you are signing from. And so, especially if I went over that quite fast, I'm assuming that you're not going through right now and filling this out as I'm going over it. So I mentioned before, but this is being recorded, so you can go back and use this as reference at any point. But also, if you have any questions about the visa process or how to fill this out, please don't hesitate to let me know, and you can always email me. All right. So next, this document confirming the purpose of stay, as well as the document of accommodation, which I'll go over in a second, will be provided to you by us. We will be sending this document to Bianca, and she will give it to you after that. And so this document confirming the purpose of stay, you will not need to do anything after you receive it in terms of filling it out. Just please double check that up here, you will see this is where your name will be. So please double check that this is your full name as included on your passport, exactly as it's on your passport. And over here, you will find your birth date. Again, this will be in day, month, year format. So please double check that these are correct. And if they aren't for some reason, then let us know as soon as possible. You will be receiving this document twice in Czech and once in English. You will be submitting one original copy in Czech with your visa application. And then the other Czech copy is for your record. And the English copy is an unofficial copy, also for your record, for you to reference and to make it easier for you to read. And so the proof of accommodation as well will be provided by us, although you will have to fill out a little bit here. So up here will be your name, where these yellow sticky notes are. And we will include these sticky notes as well on the paper when we send it to you. So you'll just have to include your nationality. Then you'll have to include your home address. Like I said, this should be your permanent address rather than a temporary one. Down here will be your passport number. And then at the bottom, you will just need to sign. And so I just also want to go over health insurance really quick. So I believe you'll be buying not only a Czech insurer, but also you have your own health insurance, or not your own health insurance, but you'll have health insurance as well on the SUNY side of things. Am I correct, Bianca?
Yeah, students will be automatically enrolled into United Healthcare insurance soon. Okay,
perfect. Yeah, and so that will help out, but as well, you'll need a Czech insurance just for the visa application process as well. It helps to be doubly covered. So this is what we're going to use Maxima as an example. This is what the Maxima health insurance website looks like. So when you first get to it, it's going to be in Czech. To make it easy on you, you can go up here and switch to English. And so I'm just going to show you an example of how to get the Maxima insurance. So what you should do is go over here to Insurance for Foreigners and get a quote. And they have two separate options for you. So you can either get the complex medical insurance, which is a little bit more expensive, It's a little under twice as expensive as their other option, but this will cover you anywhere in the Schengen zone and is a little bit more comprehensive. I'm just going to be showing you what the emergency medical care insurance looks like. This is all you need, really. Both of them will fulfill the minimum amount needed for health insurance to properly apply for your visa. Although if you would like the extra insurance as well when you're traveling outside of the Czech Republic, then you can make the choice which you would prefer. So I'm just going to show you an example of what this will look like. So importantly, you have to get this for the duration of the program. So you will need it for at least 4 months, and I'm choosing standard. And then you'll go down here and choose the program start date for the policy start date of Monday, September 2nd. And when you're buying it, make sure that the expiration date is after the program is over. And so, Dina, that's a good question about your program, 9 or 10 months. Like I said, just make sure that the expiration date itself is after the program end date. So for the other program, that would be, let me see, if we do 9 months. Yes, so you should get it for 9 months if you're getting it from the policy start date, because this will bring it past May. And so for all of you, for 1 semester, 4 months will be sufficient. But like I said, just make sure that the expiration date is past the program end date. So we're going to continue. And so here's going to be the policyholder data. So this will be your information. So I'll just show you what this will look like. Let me fill it out. So surname and first name. I'll do it like this. Please, again, make sure this is exactly how it appears on your passports. And date of birth should, again, be in day, month, first. Okay. Okay. City, Newport. Street address, 1 Drive. And also for the telephone number, please put down +1 before. This is the country code for the US. Okay. So after you enter all of your information, it'll bring you to this screen where you'll just include your nationality and your identity number. So this will be your passport number as well, what you included on your visa information. Like I said, this will be in your passport page. Okay, and so after you enter all of your data, you'll be brought to this page. You can pay the premium down here to buy your health insurance. And one thing to make sure of is to download the terms and conditions and the policy in Czech. You will need to submit this in Czech. They do also provide the terms and conditions in English, but for the purpose of your visa, you will need to submit the Czech version. And another thing, just make sure that before you actually buy, and this goes for also if you are making any payments to sign up for events for us, you need to contact your bank and credit card company ahead of time and just let them know that you are going to be making a payment to the Czech Republic. This is a Czech company, and so if you don't let your bank or credit card company know ahead of time, it might look a bit suspicious. So just please keep this in mind before you actually make the payment. So we also, in our pre-departure guide, have another insurance provider that you can look into as well, called CISI Insurance. If you do go with CISI Insurance, please just know that their basic plan does not meet the minimum required for the Czech visa procedure. So you'll need to get their extended plan. And the big difference between Maxima and CISI is Maxima is a bit cheaper up front, but when you're visiting a general practitioner, you will need to just pay a little bit, a portion of the price to go and visit the general practitioner, and the rest of the price will be billed to Maxima. Whereas with CISI, it will cover any general practitioner visits for English-speaking clinics while you're in Prague. So, like I said, Maxima is a little bit cheaper up front. CISI is a little bit more expensive, but you will be fully covered under CISI. If you have any questions, though, about health insurance information or which contract you should get, you can always email me. So there's a question, how much more expensive? I don't know off the top of my head. It's not, I would say maybe about 1.5 times more expensive, although I would definitely double check that before I would commit to that answer. But like I said, if you have any questions about it, feel free to email me. And we have the links to both insurance contract providers in our pre-departure guide. And also, there's a question, would I recommend it over Maxima? It's really up to you. It's whether you would, like I said, since Maxima is a little bit more expensive, or sorry, a little cheaper upfront, and CISI is more expensive upfront, but covers you fully at the practitioner visits, you should compare the prices on your own and see which you would prefer for your price range. So next, we will have a criminal history background affidavit. For US citizens, you will just need to submit this affidavit instead of a criminal background check. But you will need to fill this out and sign it in front of a notary, and then the notary will notarize it for you legally. So check where there are notaries near you. There are usually notaries at select bank locations. They usually have them on staff, but also there are private notaries that you can contact. Just make sure that they are indeed a notary. And so, like I said, just make sure also that you are signing this in front of them. And you will also, when you get a document notarized, need to bring a ID. So bring a driver's license or passport with you, just so the notary can make sure that it is actually you. For the document confirming financial resources, you will need to get a scan of the front and back of a debit card in your name. You'll also have to have this scan notarized by a notary. So again, for what I said for the affidavit, make sure that you are signing, you are saying, I certify that this is an original copy of my debit card on the paper where you have the scan in front of the notary. And also bring your identification with you, just so the notary can make sure that it's actually you. And you also need to include a bank account statement to prove that you can financially, you are financially sufficient while you're in the borders of the Czech Republic and the Schengen zone. So the debit card that you had signed and printed out for the previous item, that debit card should be connected to this bank account statement. This will need to be a checking account, not a savings account. Online statements are okay. You don't need to wait for your monthly statement. You can just print out an online statement, but the account must be in your name. It's all right if a parent or guardian is a cosigner to the account, but you have to have your name on the account itself. And the account must show a balance of at least $3,000 US, although we do recommend that you have a bit more, just so that way, if the exchange rate between Czech crowns and USD fluctuates a little bit, then you have a little bit of wiggle room. And especially I want to point out that this is 3,000 only in checking. It's not 3,000 mixed between checking and savings. If you don't have $3,000 in your checking account, we have had this happen in the past. Just please contact a family member or your parents or guardian and have them transfer enough money to your account so that you have $3,000 in the account when you print out the statement. After you print out the statement and have it notarized, it doesn't matter what you do with that money that your parents or guardian or family member put in there. It just needs to be there on the bank statement itself. So if you need to do this, it's up to you with the logistics of it. It just has to be on the bank statement of at least 3,000. Okay, and so a few last things about the visa. So you have to submit 2 copies of the data page of your passport in addition. So this is, unlike all of the other documents, one thing I'll say is that you should be submitting a photocopy of every document I've just gone over in addition to the original copies. But for the passport itself, you should submit 2 copies of the data page in addition to the actual physical original copy. And also, besides these copies that you're submitting, please get extra copies printed out for your own records, just so you have a record of everything that you sent in. You should be doing this when you send any legal documents or important documents to anyone, but especially for visa processing. So again, a photocopy of every original document that you are submitting, both for yourself as well as for the actual embassy processing the visa. If you cannot go in person to process your visa, which we recommend, then you should include a prepaid self-addressed overnight envelope if you are unable to pick it up in person. The way that you'll be notified of the visa being finished processing is after you submit your visa application, you'll be given a number and a website to check. And after your visa is finished processing, then your application number will show up on this website. And it's a website from the Ministry of the Interior of the Czech Republic. And so they will have the information once you submit your passport and visa application about where this website is. And so after your number pops up, you can either go and pick up your passport and visa in person, or if you are unable to do this in person, like I said, include the envelope. Here, prepaid, self-addressed, and tracked. Any form of insurance that you can get on it, especially because you're sending your passport, we really do recommend, and it helps. But if you can go in person to submit your visa application, it is extremely helpful and we recommend it. I'll be going over where you should be submitting your passport in just 1 second. But this way, if you submit it in person, then they can let you know if you're missing anything or if you need to submit anything else. It makes it a lot easier. But also, you can send us your applications before you send them in, just so we can check them over, make sure that you have everything, and we'll point out anything that you are missing. So this is in your pre-departure guide, but this is a list of where you should be sending your visa application to. So this corresponds to your permanent address. So if your permanent address is in New York, you should be submitting your visa application to the Consulate General of the Czech Republic in New York. If you are living in, say, if you're from Illinois, you should be submitting to Chicago, etc. So just double check where you should be submitting your visa application to. Make sure that you submit it to the right place, otherwise it will not process your visa. And so especially too, if you can make it to New York to submit to the Consulate General in person, like I said, we really do recommend this. And like I said, keep a scanned copy of all the documents for your records. Again, here is the complete checklist of things that you will need to submit. Do you have anyone have any questions about the visa process before we move on to the more fun stuff? I'll just say again, while I'm waiting and giving you a second to type in questions, that, like I said, submit everything with the original document as well as with a photocopy, and then photocopy everything for your own personal records. And so like I said too, this will be sent in a video to you after the fact, so you can review this application information at any point and let me know if you have any questions about it through email as well. All right, so like I said, this is going to kind of be the fun stuff about the program. So here are the program dates for the fall semester. So I'll be going over this in depth in just a second, but the first week is just going to be orientation activities to get you acclimated to Prague. And then for about 2 weeks, we are going to have you in a pre-semester Czech language course just to get you familiarized with the basics of the language. And this is a mandatory course, although we do offer it in pass-fail course, as well as a graded course, so you can choose if you would like to take it pass-fail or graded. Just please check, especially if you are trying to use this to fulfill any requirements back home, that you take the graded course. And especially too, you can continue the Czech language during the semester, which we really do recommend, although taking the full semester course is not mandatory. And so the rest of your classes will begin on September 23rd. And so for about the first 2 weeks of courses, there's an add drop period as well. November 1st, we have our official makeup day. So this is just for holidays or if there are any classes that need to be canceled. So please, we ask that you do not plan any travel on November 1st. You have to be in Prague just in case you need to make up any courses. And then December 13th and 14th are the end of the semester and the departure date. So for course registration, like I said, please register on our website ahead of time. We recommend at least registering 1 week in advance at the absolute latest, just so that way if you have any issues with logging in or registering, you can contact us and we can help you troubleshoot, just because you will need to be registered on the website in order to sign up for classes. Courses are given on a first come first served basis, so please be ready on July 1st at 10 a.m. Eastern time to be ready to register for the courses. Although if the courses fill up and you're not able to get the courses that you want, you can always be put on the wait list. So while the add drop period is still going on during the regular semester, people can, like I said, add or drop courses. If somebody drops the course during the add drop period and you are on the wait list will be moved up. Whoever was waiting first will be moved into the regular course registry. Although after the add drop period is over, if you are still on the wait list, then you will be dropped from the course. So just make sure that you do have courses that you are fully enrolled in ahead of time, although we do often have students who get on the wait list of a course and then are able to join the course later, as most students are kind of figuring out which courses they would like to take for the first 2 weeks. Additionally, like I said before, have your courses pre-approved before you get here and have a few additional courses than you actually plan to take after you get here pre-approved, just in case that after registration you're not able to get the courses that you would like, and you have a little bit of freedom during the add drop period. And so once you get here in Prague, the whole first arrival date is going to be mostly just us helping you check in at the dorm. I'll talk about this in a second. Ahead of time, if you fill out our transportation arrival detail page, then you will be able to have us arrange transportation for you to get from the airport or from the train station to the dorm. That being said, this only is applicable if you are staying or if you are arriving on the official arrival date. If you choose to arrive early because you want to see Prague, then you will need to arrange your own transportation to the dorm. And please fill out the transportation arrival detail form prior to August 1st, just so we can plan ahead of time. And so for checking in at the dorm, like I said, we'll be there all day until about 5 p.m. to help you check in and get you acclimated to the dorm. Although we will give you our 24/7 emergency telephone number. A staff member from ECES always is manning this phone in case you need anything. And during the arrival date, if your plane is canceled or delayed or anything like that, then you can contact us on the phone if you are going to end up getting to the Prague airport or train station after you originally submitted on your information, your arrival information sheet. So that way we can make sure to get you settled into the dorm, even if something happens. Don't put away your passport in your luggage or anything like that, because you will need it when you are checking into the dorm. And we have a bunch of forms for you to sign when you come in at first. This is, like I said before, attendance sheets, fire information safety, and legal things about the program. So you'll have to sign those before you are allowed to go to your rooms. And when you arrive as well, we will tell you what your room assignment is, who you will be staying with in your suite, as well as if you have a single or a double. So a few more information about the dorm. Sheets and towels are provided for you at the dorm, so please, you don't need to pack any sheets or towels. These are provided for you. And this way, this kind of cuts down on your packing a little bit. And we do recommend that you don't overpack toiletries. You can get soap and shampoo after you get here for pretty cheap at just any supermarket, really. So you don't need to be, especially if you get to kind of the weight limit on your packing, don't worry about bringing all of these things. And so over here, we have an example of what a suite in the dorm looks like. So even if you have a single room, you will be staying in a suite with a few other students. So this is an example of what one of the entryways looks like. And over here, you can see in every suite, there's a small kitchenette that you can use that comes with a hot plate, as well as a mini fridge. And also just a few shelves and everything to store your coats and boots in. Like I said, we'll tell you if you get a single or a double after you get here to Prague, but everyone will be staying in a suite area. We have a housing coordinator living on site, and she will be your primary contact if you have any issues with the dorm. If anything's broken, you can let her know if there are any light bulbs out. If for some reason, like one of your desk drawers is broken, or if you have any other issues with the dorm or need someone to help you with anything, her name is Susanna, and she is the biggest sweetheart. I can attest to that. In addition, at the dorm on the 4th floor, there is a community room that is only for ECES students. This is your communal living space. You can use it as a hangout area. It's got couches and chairs and a TV. And additionally, it has a full kitchenette with a stove and oven rather than just the hot plate in your dorm, and a full refrigerator. And there are also pots and pans and utensils and plates. So please, if we ask you, make use of the space. It's yours. Like I said, it's only for ECES students. And I think it's a really comfy place to go and hang out with the other students and be social. Although please keep in mind that although we do have wonderful cleaning ladies and cleaning staff, they will not wash your dishes for you in the communal area. So please, if you do cook something, clean up after yourself. If you are using the refrigerator in there at all, please make sure that you don't leave anything in there to rot or spoil, because this will ruin it for the other people who use the space. Although I'm sure you guys will be fine with it. So also, we do have breakfast provided at the dorm Mondays through Fridays. And I believe the hours for this are from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. This is a light continental breakfast. So there's deli slices such as meats and cheeses. There's lots of vegetables and fruits and yogurts and granola, and rolls. Although keep in mind that there's no pancakes, there's no waffles or anything like that. This is, like I said, a very traditional and light European breakfast. That being said, we do have a wonderful breakfast coordinator, Pani Blanca, and she does accept any requests for anything to be added to the breakfast in the morning. And especially if you have any dietary needs or any allergies, please let us know and let her know so that way we can make breakfast the best for you. Down here, I've included the dorm address. And so I'll show you right here where the dorm is located in Prague. So right here is kind of a zoomed out map of Prague. This is most of the area, the main area where you'll be spending your time. So we're going to just zoom in a little bit. And over here at Parežova 6 is going to be your dorm, Kole Kamenského. So this is in, I want to say this is not in Prague 1, which is the more traditional and historic part of town. This is in Prague 6, which is a quiet residential neighborhood. I really enjoy this because it's a little bit out of the way and it's extremely quiet and cozy. And it's very much I would say a Czech experience. Although you are extremely close to the center of town, so you get the best of both worlds here. The closest tram stop is at Pohožadec, and so from here, it's about a 15-minute tram ride. You'll go around this way to Malostranska. From Malostranska, it's a short walk across the bridge to our main building for the faculty at Náměstí Jana Palacha. So this is only a few minutes away from Old Town Square right here, where you see all of the traditional and the stereotypical pictures of Prague. So your classroom buildings themselves are right in the middle of town, although the dorm is a bit out of the way, but like I said, only about a 15-minute tram ride. And also there's a beautiful walk you can do past the castle through Old Town over here as well. And then one metro stop away from our main building is our Jindřiška classroom. And this is also right around the bend from Václavské náměstí, which is kind of the Times Square of Prague. So we are right in the center and extremely connected through public transit, which I'll also talk about in a second. So for the orientation itself, like I said, when you originally get to Prague, the check-in will be most of the day, although in the evening we have made reservations for you at a local Czech restaurant where you can get goulash or svíčková, traditional Czech foods, and hang out and meet the rest of the people in the program. We will have a sign-up for this after the event sign-up has started. And we really do recommend that you come out to this just so you can meet the whole ECES staff, as well as the other students who are at the program. And so, like I said, we'll have two separate sections of this to facilitate fitting in the restaurant. So just keep an eye out for this. The next day is going to be most of the housekeeping, so to say. It's going to be giving you a little bit more of the information about the dorm itself, giving you a tour of the dorm, and what to expect out of the amenities. Then we'll be getting you your student ID cards. I think I forgot to mention while going over the dorm, but we have a gated entry as well as 24-hour reception for your benefit and security. So if you come in at any time of the night, you will still have to use your student ID to check in. Like I said, this is for your own safety, so we know exactly who's coming in and out of the dorm. And if you have any friends or any family members that are coming in and staying at the dorm, you'll also have to check them in as well. So also after this, we'll be having a welcome meeting. And this welcome meeting will be going over more of the academic and the administrative issues and topics of the program itself. The next day is more of the fun things. So we'll be having a scavenger hunt through the city. This will be with Czech students oh, sorry, Dina, I just saw your question. What time is the meet and greet? So the first meet and greet section is going to be at 5:30 p.m. And the second one will start at 7:30 p.m. So if you'd like a little bit of time, especially if you're getting into Prague late, you can sign up for the second session, or if you got into Prague early in the morning, you can sign up for the first. Although it is first come, first serve. So after our event signups start, if you have a preference, be on top of which one you would sign up for. And so the scavenger hunt, like I was saying, is through Prague, and you'll have to take pictures of iconic Prague landmarks, and you will be accompanied by a Czech student who will be in your group. And this is a really fun way to get to know the city. And after this, we'll be going on a short river cruise dinner, where dinner and a complimentary drink will be provided to you. And so this is a really nice way to see the city from another site. The Vltava River is one of the most beautiful parts of Prague and one of the most iconic as well. And so on the Thursday and Friday after this, we have mandatory day trips. On Thursday, you'll be going to one of Pilsen, I believe Karlovy Vary, or Český Krumlov, although I'll have to double check to be certain. These are a little bit more fun locations, so to say, and show you some of the beauty and some of the culture of the Czech Republic outside of Prague. And we usually have more somber and educational trips the next day. So for Friday, September 6th, we have a choice of the Příbram communist labor camp or the Terezín ex-concentration camp. Please, I do ask that if you have a preference for these as well, since you cannot go on every trip, be on top of signing up and registering for these after the event registration begins. As also, if you do not sign up for an orientation trip and it gets to the orientation days, we will manually sign you up for a trip. So please, if you do have a preference, make sure to sign up for them. After this, for about 2 weeks, like I said, we will have our intensive Czech language course, which is a full 3-credit course. And like I said, you can take this either pass-fail or for a grade. And here is just an example of the schedule for the first month of the program. So like I said, again, the first week is orientation. Next 2 weeks are for the Czech language. And then after this, the next 2 weeks are going to be the start of classes. And for the first 2 weeks, like I said, this is the add drop period. So for the first 2 weeks, like I said, you can kind of try out classes. And if there are any classes you couldn't get into registration, make sure that if you're on the wait list to show up to the course anyway. So I see the question, how many hours a day is the Czech language course? Let me double check that, because I believe I have that right here. So it will be from about either from 9 a.m. to about 1:30, or from 2 p.m. to I think about 6. So I think it's about 4.5 hours a day. This is specifically, like I said, a full course that we're fitting in 2 weeks. So it is for a good amount of time. And for which section you'll be put into, we will be assigning you into these sections. So I apologize, but you will not be able to choose which section. Okay, and so here are a few also of our optional trips and activities that you'll be able to sign up for and go on over the course of the semester. These are a few of the activities we've had in the past. There's a Budapest weekend trip, as well as just a Český Ráj hiking day trip. A few of our trips as well, as you can see here, are free, or activities rather, like the Radio Free Europe tour, which is one of the most politically important radio stations in modern European history. So please, we'll have more information about these closer to the event sign-up date. So keep an eye out on the website under the side section that I showed you, and we will have updates for these. And so for preparing, just a few notes. Make sure that before you get here, do a little bit of research, because I think that will help the inevitable culture shock. It can be very stressful coming and studying abroad, and so we do understand this, and we're here to help you with this. Oh, yeah, Bianca?
I'm sorry to bother you. Something came up. I actually have to go. I'm so sorry.
Oh, no, of course.
Crazy day here. If the students have any questions for me, please feel free to email me. I will get to your questions via email in a bit, okay?
Of course, yeah. Thank you for coming, Bianca.
Of course. This was great. And I learned things when I attended. And if you have any questions for me, Duncan, too, please feel free to email me, okay?
Of course, yeah. All right, awesome. Thanks so much.
Of course.
Take care. Yeah, and so I will finish up for the rest of you shortly. I just want to go over, like I said, just a few of the other more fun things to prepare for. So, like I said, do a little bit of research, especially on the history and the politics of the Czech Republic and modern Europe. I'm a little bit biased as a ex-history major, and so I really do think that history and politics really shape the way that especially Europeans see and perceive the world. So learning a little bit about where your home will be for a semester is a great first way to kind of curb the inevitable shock of coming and studying abroad. Additionally, start learning Czech. We have a few applications here that you can use that we recommend. Duolingo especially just added their Czech language section. So please look into these. As you can probably tell, I am not Czech, and so I can attest that the language is a bit difficult. But even if you just learn a little bit of the phonetics and the pronunciation, this helps immensely for being able to navigate around and being able to figure out the public transit. And a note about Czech culture as well. Like I said, you're probably going to experience culture shock at some point or another. And one thing to keep in mind is that Czech people can be a little bit more reserved, especially if you are in public or if you don't really know them. And please don't be too shocked by this. Czech people aren't trying to be rude or mean or anything to you. It's just that Czechs do not usually smile in public. They do not usually wave to people they do not know. So this is just something to keep in mind when you get here. Although Czechs are normal people, and once you get to know them, are fantastic and warm and open, I've found. And so one thing too, public transit is a huge thing once you get here for locals. Praguers generally use public transit to get everywhere. Taxis and Uber are not pervasive in the Czech Republic. Uber especially is actually illegal. It does not act as a legal entity in the Czech Republic and Prague. And so we do not recommend using Uber or trying to use Uber. Taxis as well are legal and are here, but, and I'm sure this is much the same as in New York, if taxi drivers believe that you might be a foreigner or you don't know your way around, sometimes they will overcharge you or they will take different routes in order to run the meter up. So we really do recommend taking public transit. This is the best way, I think, to kind of live like a local. And additionally, you'll see the, like I said, reservedness on public transit. Specifically, people don't generally talk on public transit or don't talk too loud on public transit. So just please keep this in mind, that if you are speaking loudly, especially in English on the tram or in the metro, people might be a little bit put off, but this is something that you will definitely get used to while you're here. And so just a few practical considerations as well to finish up. Like I said before you make any payments to any Czech companies, ourselves included, for event registration, please call your credit card company and bank and let them know you'll be traveling and let them know that you will be making payments to us. Especially before you actually get here, let them know you'll be here and making purchases and withdrawals from ATMs in the Czech Republic ahead of time. I promise you there's nothing scarier than being in a new country and being in Europe and being completely cut off from your money. So please, before you get here, let your bank and credit card company know. The current exchange rate between US dollars to Czech crowns is about $1 to 20 Czech crowns. So you'll see a lot of 100 and 200 Czech crown notes. This is not a lot of money. This is about $5 for the 400, or sorry, $5 for the 100 bill and $10 for the 200 bill. So this is just something that you should also take a few crowns out before you get here, just in case after you get off your plane or train. And also before you get here, buy some European-style outlets and adapters. One thing to keep an eye out for is to make sure that the voltage on these devices fits whatever devices you're buying them for. So we recommend buying these outlets for laptops and phone chargers. So make sure that the voltage, like I said, matches. And we do recommend that you get these before you actually get to Prague, because it is a bit hard to get these adapters after you are already here. They're very easy and very cheap to get online or at local electronic stores. So we also do have a bit of information about this in the pre-departure guide. And one thing to keep in mind is we do not recommend bringing heat-producing appliances, so specifically hair dryers or hair straighteners. Do not bring these with you, because even if the voltage is converted or the voltage says it will be converted on some of these converters, we've had a lot of issues in the past with these objects still overheating on students and breaking or catching fire. So please, if you need to use a hair straightener or a hair dryer, then you should really be bringing these, or rather, you should be going to Tesco or rather a other store that would carry these, and you can buy them for extremely cheap. And this way it also helps out on your packing. So also, if you're interested, look into getting an ISIC card. This is an International Student Identification Card. There are a number of different discounts you can get as a student if you have this card with you after you get here. This is an internationally recognized card, as the name would imply. But one thing to keep in mind is that you can only apply for this while you are still in your home country. After you arrive in Prague, you cannot apply for the ISIC card. So just make sure that if you're interested in it, I would recommend going to www.isic.org and checking out a little bit about it and applying for it as soon as possible to allow for it to get to you in time. And one more thing I just want to say before this webinar is over is for the visa itself. Please send this in as soon as you receive your visa materials from us, especially the academic invitation as well as the accommodation agreement. Once you get those from Bianca, because the visa processing time can take up to 60 days is what the Czech embassies usually say they allow, although in the past we've also had visa applications take a little bit longer. Yes, so Dina, we will, like I said, I'll follow up with you and talk about your visa application with you through email. So I'll follow up with you about that. But yeah, so are there any questions before the webinar is over? Like I said, now is definitely the time if you have any final questions to make use of the webinar while it's still going on. And I'll allow a few minutes for questions, a minute or so while they come in. And yeah, so like I said, just make sure that the visa processing can take about 60 days or over. So just as soon as you get the visa materials, to send that in. Yeah, so any final questions? Yes, so the question is, is there Wi-Fi in the dorms? Wi-Fi is in the dorms. We will be able to give you the Wi-Fi information after you check in at the dorm, and additionally, you will get a login information for the university. You do Roam Wi-Fi when we go to get your student ID cards. So you can use Wi-Fi when you are on not only the dorm, but also use our university Wi-Fi if you're at any university building, if you're in any of the university bistros or the libraries or anything, any of these locations. And so, like I said, we will give you the information for that after you get here. For the storage space in the dorms, there is a wardrobe for every student. If you're in a double, there will be 2 wardrobes, as well as if you're in a single, there will be 1 for you. And there's a little bit of shelf space, and also you will have a desk with a few drawers in it as well. And then there is a bit of shared storage for coats and boots in the rest of the suite areas that you can share with your suite mates. And then if you do require any extra storage space, I would recommend packing cubes, air-sealed packing cubes that you can use. It's a really efficient way to save space, not only while packing, but also after you have arrived at the dorms. Although I do think that the dorm storage space we haven't had any issues with it in the past. No, there is the question is there any short dresser? And so, no, it is a long and tall wardrobe that you can open up. And there are also a few coat hangers that come with it as well that are the dorms. All right, any more questions? All right, awesome. Well, yeah, thank you so much for coming. And I hope this helped out. Like I said, I'll be sending this out to everybody. I will be uploading this video to our YouTube page and including it in a follow-up email. But also, if you have any questions, like I said, any questions on the New Paltz end, please email Bianca or talk to her at the New Paltz Study Abroad office. And if you have any questions about the visa applications or about the ECES program, reach out to me. Like I said, duncan.eaton@ff.cuny.cz, and my contact information is on the ECES website as well under the contact tab. So thanks again, everybody, for coming, and I hope you have a nice rest of the day. It's a bit earlier in New Paltz than it is here in Prague. So yeah, have a great Tuesday. And cheers and take care.